So MADRE Speaks, Stories of Pride is a campaign to amplify the voices of LGBTQIA communities around the world who would otherwise face violent oppression for their identities. So the story you're reading today is one of the anonymized stories from the open call and networks across borders.
What LGBTQIA plus pride means to me. The LGBTQIA plus pride movement is a social and political movement agitating for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, and other gender non-conforming persons' visibility, acceptance, and respect for their rights. The celebrations are typically held in June when the pride flags rise high. We celebrate our identities, commemorate our achievements and milestones, and come together to garner support from our friends and families. Each year, I take the opportunity to learn something about our queer community. In 2021, I discovered that Pride Month resulted from the civil rights movement of the 1950s to 1960s, in which Black communities fought for the same legal and civil rights as their white counterparts. It led to the Stonewall riots of 1969, marking the turning point in the fight for LGBTQIA rights. In addition, I participated in a collective care and healing session that involved hiking and sharing our stories, which validated our feelings and experiences. In 2022, I engaged in online activism because my country does not recognize same-sex unions, and it's dangerous to live openly as queer due to the stigma and discrimination associated with it. Together with allies, we raised awareness about LGBTQIA+ issues and advocated for repealing Section 62 of the Kenyan Constitution to achieve full equality and inclusion. With Pride approaching, I'm more reflective. I realize that even though we all identify as the LGBTQIA+ community, we experience oppression differently, and some feel it worse than others, and that among our community, we tend to be each other's enemies and exclude each other during our engagements. As queer people, we need to be intersectional and self-aware to realize that we can have internalized stigma and minority stress that is detrimental to our holistic well-being and jeopardizes the safety of others within the community. This year's Pride should be about reflection and spreading love for ourselves and for our community. What liberation looks like to me, my descriptive vision. I was a competitive runner until I took a break to focus on my studies. After finalizing school, I decided to embark on it. I thought it would be easy to get back on track, but it was a torturous experience. My body was out of it, and my brain could not comprehend and coordinate my actions. It appeared I had lost all muscle memory. I decided to change tactics. I took long walks, which eventually became jogs. I enrolled in karate classes and learned yoga. Eventually, my efforts paid off. I was the proudest of myself the day I experienced a runner's high. It also proved to be a significant turning point in my life. I went into therapy, focused more on school, and became an avid advocate for social justice. Since then, I've been more intentional and aggressive in all my endeavors because I fully realized that hard work and determination pay off. Liberation means removing the shackles that hold me down. It's about accomplishing my everyday tasks without procrastinating or feeling drained. It's about the wins and being okay with the losses. It's watching my babies grow, being independent, and hitting their milestones quickly. It's about being able to pay my bills. It's about finding love and honest connections. It's about building networks that become families. It's about acceptance and being validated. It is about being able to identify my stressors, how to cope with my emotions, accept them, and communicate assertively. Liberation is not about winning an Olympic medal or becoming president. Every day presents an opportunity for self-liberation, and an individual has to commit to achieving it. How do I reclaim joy? The question is tricky. I have no formula for it because life is unpredictable and sudden. It can take you by surprise. 2 weeks ago, I woke up one morning to the news that 2 of my colleagues and their families had been swept away into the ongoing floods. 3 days ago, other colleagues were rendered homeless, and last night, a friend succumbed to cancer. I lost my job in February, and as a single mother, it's been an uphill task catering for my family. It's been challenging to find joy lately because it seems all I do is survive and worry about bills. So how am I finding joy? I've never been more aggressive. I'm engaging myself in platforms and programs that, even though they're not paying for now, my future looks better. Secondly, being hopeful that it shall get better and the tides turn. Thirdly, self-care, and taking care of my physical and mental health through self-affirmations and regular exercise. Fourthly, I regularly share my feelings, worries, and hopes with my mother and therapist because they always have something positive to tell me. Fifthly, my children's nanny is very understanding and accommodating. She's patient when payment delays occur. Lastly, learning from past mistakes and remaining accountable is a daily win. My path to finding joy is not specific, but I'm working on ensuring that my decisions do not result in more harm. For example, avoiding creditors and borrowing steers me clear of financial imprisonment.
Okay, so how do you feel after reading that statement?
I feel good. Honestly, reading it, it resonated a lot with me in the sense of like having to affirm every day that you want to achieve your goals and like completely be who you want to be. It's a hard task to do. So that kind of hit me.
What's something that stuck out for you while reading?
I think the idea of constantly struggling. Not that that's great, but that, you know, everyone is feeling it and still finds a way to push through and find joy and connect. And something like Pride Month or even like Juneteenth is like a moment to really like remember how powerful you are.
What are some connections, if any, that you were able to make with the statement?
I think situationally, being able to get back into something, because she was talking about like struggling getting back into like track and the physical and all that, is a big part of my life all the time, where you're like, you've fallen back on the things that made you strong and capable and confident. So that resonated with me a lot, having to remember that and get back into who you really are and be proud of it, because it's rough to like be consistent and be proud of all the things that make you capable. Yeah.
You're good. You're a true professional.